So, what you up to? Yeah, us too. Jeff's back, though, and wish we had more breaking news, but believe it or not, this silence that we're hearing from the Rangers might be speaking volumes. Let's talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Well, Skip looks happy, so that's good news. The general managers are meeting, so that's good news. That means things are happening and things are rolling, and it's just a matter of when there will be more to talk about concrete things. For now, man, let's throw another log on the fire and get that hot stove going. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, back from his bourbon trip. So,
oh, man.
This was big. And speaking of big, we got the Prophet over here today. So we're thrilled to have him back. Who are you training over there, Elijah? Mr. Kent. Hey, Kent. We got Kent hanging out with us, too. He's a Ford man. So we're glad about that. And any Detroit, based company I'm good with, Jeff. And any Kentucky-based bourbon company you're pretty good with.
I became familiar with a lot of them.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Over the last few days.
It's good.
Yeah. No, it was a good trip. And we also went to Churchill Downs for the first time.
Oh, did you really? Yeah.
Yeah, where I introduced the wife to horse racing, and now she likes that. So,
of course. The sport
lots of vices this weekend.
Sport of kings, Jeff. They call that the sport
That's
of
right.
kings. So, all right. So, lots sort of out there and floating. And I see, Leon said, in answer to my thing about the silence from the Rangers, yes, there's been silence from almost all teams, and it's right. And we'll get into a reason why coming up a little later on in the show. There's big awards going on this week, so that'll occupy time and thought and print and space. And of course, we'll have our cleanup segment coming as well. But we start with sort of what we expect from the Rangers this week, and because of the GM meetings, Jeff, we don't expect, at least not in the early part of the week. I mean, the soonest we would see anything, I would think, on the coaching staff would probably be after the GM meetings, right?
I don't think so. If they have any lingering meetings, interviews they want to get done, this might be the time to, because everybody's going to be in the same place, same time in Las Vegas, and just easy to drop somebody in for an interview and continue to conduct business in that sense. But there are meetings, rules meetings, and things like that that'll be discussed, and so it's not strictly just a big powwow to get together and talk trades. There's actual business that's conducted that you'll never hear about, probably. Rules changes and just some thoughts like that, proposals and things. But yeah, this is kind of where everybody kind of thinks this is the kickoff to the hot stove league, as people like to call it. And cool. We're not. I'm not going. You're going to be there.
Yes, I'm going to check in on some of the activity on Wednesday. We'll have a chance to see some of the American League guys, and I'll swing by there today as well. So I'm in town.
Probably not a lot going on.
No, right? They're just arriving today.
Yeah. Tomorrow will be more of the day where you'll start to see things and items on Twitter and such, and then they're kind of the precursor toward the winter meetings, which are in the first full week of December there in Orlando, and I'll be at those. I still don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because they seem to be more and more maddening, and there's always ways that these guys figure out where they don't have to go near where the media is. Whether it's getting off the floor early before the lobby or just finding a whole way to walk around without, anyway, hopefully, and this could be where some things are finalized or
Sure.
the ball is moved forward. You wonder about the Kyle Higashioka signing, which I guess is the freshest, earliest one in our memory. Maybe things got to the finish line at the GM meetings and get him in, get him the physical and all that jazz, but which they do here, of course. But just the furtherance of discussions and maybe crossing the line.
Have you covered the GM meetings before?
I have,
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to be there in case something does happen. But generally, it's a lot of speculation and searching for news and I don't want to say creating news, but throwing stuff on the wall and
Sure.
if it
See if
sticks
it'll stick.
and
Sure.
Getting some responses from the Chris Young and Ross about what might be going on the day-to-day side, any injury things that need to be cleared up. So just a good chance to talk to these guys about what's actually happening.
Yeah, and the reality is about this event is that it is, again, traditionally called the beginning of the unofficial beginning of the Hot Stove League, and it's essentially where most GMs are laying groundwork. For context, right after the GM meetings there in Las Vegas are the sports agent meetings, right? They're having their convention.
Funny how that happened.
Yeah, right after. So everybody's there, right? All the agents are there. All the obviously all the GMs are there, and front office people. It's not just the GMs. CY will be there, as well as Ross and the Rockies just got in under the wire. Jeff getting DePodesta in there on time, so not like he's unfamiliar with what happens here, having been with the A's and Billy Beane. But anyway, so everybody will have representation there, and the agents will all be there. And this is where you begin to talk about free agents, right? And contracts that might be able to be done and those types of things with the agents. It is a time where trades can be at least started. Not very often are they made, but the Jake Odorizzi trade was made at the GM meetings in 1920, whatever,
22, because he was supposed to be part of the 23 team, and he never even saw the field. But yeah, and those discussions had probably started to take place already. So again, it's crossing the finish line or you're in the starter's gun.
Right.
As long as we're sticking with the racing, let's the dropping of the white flag.
Yeah.
However you want to do it. Or the green flag. White flag is last lap. Green flag. In any event, discussions are going to be taking place. So from here, then all the stuff will start to spread, and just got to choose if you're an observer, what to believe and what not to believe, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And again, I caution you guys that a lot of these things that you're going to hear about the Rangers aren't going to make sense, and so you gotta kind of sniff those out. Yeah,
you got to take some of it with a grain of salt, because some of the things that come from the national writers are not necessarily. Again, they don't. Again, when we hear things, and I had it the other day, Jeff, when Mike Bassick was on, I said, "Okay, so here's one I've never heard," and I think it was maybe MLB Trade Rumors or somebody had the Rangers unequivocally signing 3 players, and I'd never heard any of their names with the Rangers, and right now off the top of my head I can't think of the other 2, but the third one was Justin Verlander.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
And I don't see that. I don't see that happening. So anyway,
but at least the price range is right. That's probably the kind of price that where the Rangers might be shopping.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they were so definitively sure that he was going to. But anyway, so you can't always believe what you hear from some of these people. Heck, you can't always believe what you hear from us. We're trying our best, but you can't always believe it. We're certainly not in any intentional way trying to deceive, but we're giving you the information that we have as it's available to us. Now, with regard to the coaching staff, somebody said earlier that there was he talked to somebody from the MLB trade rumors, maybe, or one of the different networks, and that sometimes the coaching staff isn't named until, as late as January or December. I don't think that's going to happen in this case with the Rangers, because if you don't have a pitching coach, Jeff, and Mike talked about this on the show too, the pitcher who may be considering coming to your organization needs to know who his pitching coach is going to be.
Yeah, and okay, maybe then the quality control coach isn't found until January.
Right.
But when you're changing hitting coaches and you're changing pitching coaches, that's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
And those things need to be resolved. And the Rangers were last I heard last week conducting external interviews with candidates for pitching coach. Keep an eye on Oscar Marine because of all of his past ties to the organization. And internally, I think Teagues and Dave Bush are in the mix, and feels like they have roles. But we'll just see how that shakes out. But I would expect that that's the next one to drop.
Right.
And it needs to be.
Yeah. And again, that word last week from various pundits and from people in Houston was that Alex Cintron was kind of finalizing things with the Rangers. It appears that in this case, if the way we've heard it, he'd come in, but that he would be under Justin Veely.
Right. I think they're gonna let Veely be at the top, and then hire a couple assistants, if you will, to work with him, and Cintron, and then maybe one from the organization from down in the minors if indeed Seth Connor doesn't return.
Yeah, and the really sort of obvious thing in that regard is that Justin Veely his contract did not expire, right? Didn't he sign a 2-year deal, or maybe even 3 when he signed last offseason?
It was a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
So and if the Rangers, if they are indeed in the cost cutting realm, as it would appear to be, they're not going to just want to pay a guy not to do any work.
Right.
And again, I think he did a fine job. I think that they hired him for a reason, and he checked all the boxes. And I think after Donnie was, and he and Donnie are pals, best friends. I think after Donnie was let go, a lot fell onto Justin just because of the relationships he had that Brett Boone didn't have. Not that he'd been with these guys for years; it'd been months. But that's something's better than nothing,
right? And the reality on that front is the duplicity of the message, right, from Veely and Donnie Ecker. As both of them were obviously, they came from San Francisco. They both had the same school of thought, and so try something different. And Chris Young will tell you it began to work, and that things improved with regard to some of the things they wanted the guys to do at the plate once Brett Boone took over. So but we know Brett Boone's not going to be back. So whatever improvement was there either wasn't enough, or maybe Brett decided he just doesn't want to come back. Maybe it wasn't all it was.
Always a
possibility.
possibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. That's a definite possibility. Up next, though, so why all this silence? Why all this inactivity? We've got a pretty good answer coming up next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. First, though, it's game time. And when you're on the Game Time app, you absolutely know it, love it, and wish you had known about it forever. Wish it had been out here forever. So many of the secondary ticket apps came into being before there were apps, and you had no idea. You made a phone call, sat on hold forever, and then just paid their ridiculous fees. You don't have fees like that with Game Time. You also have technology with Game Time where you can look at your phone or your tablet or your laptop, and you can know exactly where the seat is, and you can, click on the box and see exactly what your sight lines are at the venue you're going to. It's not just for sports. There are all kinds of concerts and shows and other activities there, but it is for sports, too, because it's Game Time. And NBA tickets there for your taking. Any arena you want to go to, and I bet you right now, they're pretty cheap for the Dallas Mavericks game. So go check them out and see what it all looks like. It might that thing might implode very, very soon. Game Time will give you $20 off your first purchase if you use the code DLLS. Use the Game Time app.
Feels like it's already imploded. It's just now it's time to clean the house.
Yeah.
Hey, PNC Bank would like to thank all you Stars fans who showed up at their Main Street branch last week at the PNC Plaza there at the AAC. Love to see how Dallas and Fort Worth are committed to long-term growth, especially when it comes to the Mullets. Craig Ludwig, apparently, huge star the night he was there.
Big time
Apparently
star.
Everybody was all over Luds and his beautiful hair. Anyway, for those who missed it, the pop-up event was the ultimate celebration of PNC's reliable, responsible approach to long-term financial planning told through the lens of another amazing investment, long-term hair. Pretty good. Anyway, it was just a reminder that the best things, whether the legendary flow or strong financial plan, come to those who are patient and committed to the long run. Please visit pncbank.com to check out some more about that and let them help you secure your financial future.
And your mullet. So here's the deal. Everybody in the industry expects that there will be a work stoppage next year.
Oh,
I know. It's the thing none of us who work at this job
our
want
job
to
won't
hear.
stop.
No, heck, we never stop. But the point is, we don't want to have a work stoppage. And like, seriously, I've said to a few people, I mean, it'll never be like the NHL the year they canceled that season, will it? And they're like, come on. Baseball is thriving right now. 25.9 million people watched Game 7 of the World Series.
That's just in the United States.
It was in the U.S., that's right, because it was up like around 51 million when you add Japan and Canada in. 25.9 million in the United States. 16.1 million watched Game 7 of the NBA Finals between Oklahoma City and whoever they beat. I can't remember off the top of my head, but was it Indiana? I don't know.
Yep, it was. Those giant markets, Indianapolis and Oklahoma City.
But all we've heard as baseball people for all these years is, oh, man, the NBA's doing this and baseball's doing that. Well, those numbers don't seem to indicate that. And so when you're at a peak and you're rising and you're doing well and you're getting those kinds of numbers, don't cut off your nose, Jeff, to spite your face.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and you know, you look around these 30 teams. All right, it's not 30 markets. It's 25 markets, I guess, 26 markets, and you know, these people that own these franchises are not poor.
None of them.
Okay, now how much do they want to dip into their own pocket? That's the ultimate question, and it always is. You know, and you see like Bob Nutting in Pittsburgh and other smaller markets, the new group in Tampa and various places, and they might be a little bit Kansas City too. You know, they might be a little on the struggling to make ends meet as far as the business is concerned. Personally, they can do whatever they want. All right. You know, even the one that gets me is St. Louis. St. Louis, the big baseball town. I know it's a small market, but you know, George DeWitt's worth more than Ray Davis.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, what are we doing here? Why are the Cardinals trying to operate on a small budget? And I know that's the market size, but the attendance is typically very, very good in St. Louis. And I mean, Budweiser is right there. It's like, hey, that's a lot of sponsorship dollars.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is frustrating, and maybe it's a situation of competitive balance, and trying to get these small market teams so where they can have a better chance to win a championship. Like, would the Cleveland Cavaliers be any good if the NBA didn't have a salary cap? I don't know, but I do think that, especially with the tenor that seems to always come from the two sides with Tony Clark and Rob Manfred, that, trouble is ahead for sure. Hopefully, though, they can get the ball rolling sooner than later and get it on the table. Don't wait till the end of the season or mid-season. Start it now. Give yourself as much time as possible to work this out. Misty, Leon, you're bringing up some good points. The soft cap, the CBT is a soft cap.
Yep.
And I do like the fluoride.
Me too.
And maybe somewhere in there is where the resolution lies. Make teams spend money to be competitive. You never know what's going to happen when you show up. You never know when you're going to hit on a free agent that you didn't spend a lot of money on, and when a prospect is going to come up and change your fortunes, or a couple of them are. I agree with that. That would satisfy the players to some degree.
Yes.
If more teams are spending money, that's more money going around to these players. So anyway, and I would raise the CBT. I would make it higher, and I don't want to say 300 million because then it can get pretty crazy, but somewhere around 260, I think that's a good number. Anyway.
Yeah, and Bruce asks the question, how much of an owner's worth is liquid? Maybe not much, but the reality is any owner can sell his team and make money.
Huge money.
I mean, huge money. You think about, obviously, guys that bought it, way long time ago, but, just take a look at, the Cowboys. Jerry Jones paid $156 million for the Cowboys. It was every penny he had. They're worth like $12 billion. So if Jerry wants to say, "Oh, we're poor," well, sell the team. Sell the team, and you're going to have 12 or more, probably more $1 billion. And it's the same thing. I mean, even Tom Hicks, who put the Stars and the Rangers into bankruptcy, came out personally smelling like a rose.
Yeah, he was fine. He had to pay off his debtors and everything, the people he's indebted to. I don't know if they're debtees or debtors.
Yeah.
I guess they're ors. Anyway, whatever. How about George Steinbrenner? What about the Yankees?
Right.
Even George Bush, when he was part of that ownership group.
Sure.
And they turned around and sold the Rangers. So there's a pile of money out there for Ray Davis and his that ownership group. They're going to make so much money when they sell this team.
Right.
They bought it for $593.
Yep.
I know Ray has bought out people along the way, or bought out their shares either entirely or partially. They're going to sell this franchise for probably, I would guess, 3.5 or more billion.
Maybe 5. Yeah. Maybe 5.
What's the return on that investment?
Right. It's 600%. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And that is where their money is absolutely made. If you don't make money year to year, I don't think you have to worry too much about it with regard to your bottom line. And by the way, you don't get into this game if you need to take a salary from your team in order to get by, right? That's not why these owners get into owning a sports franchise. It's like, oh man, I need to make, $195 a year to get by. No. They are rich already, and they don't need any money that they could possibly glean from the organization. Mike, when he was on last week, was, reminding how important the idea of no salary cap is to the players. And he talked about how the minute you're in the Major League Baseball Players Association, you are taught, it's like just ingrained in you. You will not disrespect Kurt Flood, or like in Mike's case, he said, or your dad, Mike Bassick Sr., or any of these other guys that they know this is the person you really respected, you will not disrespect them ever by allowing a salary cap. Now, I suppose at some point, Jeff, everything changes, but that is real. That is how these players are talked to and treated when they get in this game. You must respect the work and the efforts and everything that's gone before you to get you this magical, unbelievable living that you're allowed to make today.
Yeah. And, I'm alarmed by, and I know it's different roster sizes and all that, but like these NBA salaries for the guys who signed the Supermax deals. Man. Good Lord.
Yeah.
So you can make money with a salary cap if you're a player. There's no question about it. And as we continue to talk about this and we're, trying to manipulate things and make it so that there isn't a salary cap, the hard fixed salary cap, PR, softening the words probably helps. But like we've said in the past, close down the deferred payments loophole.
Right.
Do that. That I'm sure all the, that's something that everybody could probably come to an agreement on, you would think.
Right.
Players may not like it, honestly, but owners, it's like, hey, you don't want a salary cap? All right, well, let's get you paid up front.
Yes.
If you're going to sign a contract, don't you want your money right away?
Yep.
Let's do that. I just think that there are a lot of things that could happen that could soften this thing and make it so that they find an agreement before December 1st of 2026.
26, yeah. When you think about what the CBA and this CBT, so it's the collective bargaining agreement and the collective bargaining threshold, right?
Tax.
And it's
whatever.
A tax or a threshold.
You can have multiple reasons.
Yeah, and so you have to, as long as you don't go over that, you're okay. But the deferred money, the funny thing about it is, near as we can tell, there's really only one team using it, or at least maybe abusing it, right? And that's the Dodgers. So okay, fine, stop them from doing it. In the meantime, I'm baffled as to why more teams don't.
Right.
And I promise you this, the Dodgers don't care. They're going to go crazy this offseason, I think, because it doesn't matter. They're already way over and they've got all this deferred money. So they're going to take advantage of these rules while these rules are available.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the reality of this situation.
Right. McJowers with the going from 6 to 4 years of team control to free agency may help. They did raise the minimum salary significantly in the last CBA. Maybe go 6 to 5 years. I don't know, but I don't dislike that idea. I do like the idea of forcing innings limits to add to the value of starting pitchers, so that teams get, like if you're going to pay a starting pitcher $30 million a year, you probably want them to pitch 6-7 innings and an outing. Enough of this 5 innings and out crap.
Yeah.
I really liked that idea. It would give the owner, you'd get more bang for your buck, I guess, technically.
Yeah, it seems like there would have to be a coming back from injury provision within that rule.
Yeah.
But I agree. Own it. Wear it. I mean, I suppose there's sometimes when, I don't know, and there may be other sort of, limits in there, but sometimes a guy just doesn't have it and you have to get him out of there in the first inning.
Right.
But I agree. We don't need to just pull everybody after 80 pitches or 5 innings, whichever comes first.
Sure.
Used to be 100 or 120 before, and maybe 200 before that. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason this year as teams continue to prepare for next year. And it'll be really interesting to see how many teams spend this entire offseason essentially keeping their powder dry, right? So that they don't get into a situation next year when there's no revenue coming in for at least a period of time. They want to avoid that situation at all costs. So that is perhaps a reason for the quiet. Up next, it won't be quiet all week long because the Major League Baseball awards are nigh upon us. Let's talk about that and more next as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast.
First up, though, please join the Supporters Club. Please. If you haven't already, I know a lot of you have, thanks to T.O. Yeah, good job. And those who did it independently, thank you very much. It's good stuff. We did our video last week, like, who's your dream Rangers free agent? Well, you got to be a Supporters Club member to see that bad boy. But you get the emojis and you get the little icons in your next to your name in the chat to know just truly how badass of a Supporters Club member you are. And we enjoy it. And it's just another way to raise your sports awareness, your sports fandom, knowledge about these local teams, and get some behind the scenes stuff that we've seen or we've run into over the years that just kind of, are fun. It's fun. We like our jobs, John.
Yes, we do.
And we have some good stories over all these years to tell. So
that too.
Get that access during the Supporters Club.
Yeah, it's cheap too. And it's free to join the newsletter, or basically it's not joining a newsletter, it's receiving it. All you do is put your email in on our webpage. It's at the bottom. So you go to alldlls.com, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you see a box there. You click on it to receive the newsletter. And it's written painstakingly, really, every day by Ali Jawad. And it's really good. It's good almost every day. Today there's and he has like this final note. Today's the really interesting note about Derrick Henry. Yesterday, 10 years in the league, Derrick Henry finally surpassed his rushing total from high school. He rushed for 12,000 and change in high school in 4 years.
It's a lot.
And now he's at 12,000, and I think he's got like 3 more yards right now than he did in high school. I didn't know that. It's in the newsletter. You should sign up today. So the Fall Stars game was yesterday, and that is the conclusion of the fall season, right? The Arizona Fall League. Is okay. So, and there were 3 Rangers pitchers on that Fall Stars team.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, none of them pitched. It's all right.
Okay, it is. I don't need them. I was hoping we'd come in here and say, "Oh my gosh, Teodo was great," and Santos. Oh my gosh, Corniel. Hey. No, none of them pitched yet.
Yeah, that's all right. It was for those 3 especially is about getting the reps from time missed during the season, and Teodo with his hip/back injury. Santos had a hairline fracture in his back. Corniel was coming off the Tommy John. So these are guys who are on the 40-man roster, like we said, and if things are going the way they appear to be going budget-wise, the Rangers are going to want their contributions because they will be cheap labor.
Yep.
But they're good. They all throw 95 plus, varying off-speed pitches, and Corniel especially is kind of a premium strike thrower guy. So and they need work though. They're not just getting their reps and fine tuning things. They have some things that they got to fix, and you could kind of see maybe that they were just judging on walk totals, that they might have been experimenting with some things and throwing pitches and counts that they wouldn't ordinarily, or trying a mechanical thing that still has some things to be ironed out. It was also a pretty good statistically wise. It was like a big year for hitters in the fall league, although I think it always seems to be that way. But so maybe they were pitching around some guys, who knows? But I just think that for these guys to get to the reps is very important. Kind of like the All-Star game, you don't need to participate in it. It's an honor just to be selected.
Well, and it says everything we need to know as fans of them as prospects about how their fall league went. Right. They were among the best performers in the fall league, and were honored by being named as members of the All-Star Game or Fall Star Game, as they call it, and that's fantastic. That means they've done they accomplished everything that we would like them and that they wanted to accomplish during the Arizona Fall League this year. Now they can have a nice off season, which will probably be comprised of playing winter ball somewhere.
Some of them, maybe, for sure.
Yeah. So thought he All About Sports Zone says, I thought Ali said that he tied it. His post may have said tied it. I did see that he's 3 yards ahead. It was like 12,227 to 12,224. There are rarities spots available on the 40-man roster right now. So that's something that's got to be cleaned up.
Probably. What did we? They signed those, or they made those 2 waiver claims last week, Wednesday from the A's, but they cleared 2 spots for those guys. So there's still ample 40-man spots available to do the stuff that's upcoming. With the
trades,
setting the 40-man to get those Rule 5 eligibles out there, and then a couple days later is a non-tender deadline, so you can free a couple up. And if you want to make a trade or get an early free agent, the Rangers have room. And again, they have a couple more guys I think they would maybe not reluctantly part with. They could say, all right, we can live with this one. Are
all 3 of our fall stars on the 40?
They are.
They are.
Yeah. So,
they were. So
they're
covered.
Yeah, and they're taking up big spots.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that fall league, or fall star game, they had an actual home run derby, and according to Statcast, the hardest ball ever hit, Jeff, was hit in that Fall Stars game.
Wowee.
By Tony Blanco, who is a big Babe Ruth in waiting for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He'll be there for 6 years unless they reduce the time it takes for someone to become a free agent, and then he'll be there 4 years. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, another great, you have to give the Pirates credit. They find talent. They just can't keep it.
Yeah, and they really started investing in Latin America, and they've had a lot of success there as well. But when you're at the top of the draft every darn year, you better do well. And hey, the Rangers are looking for a catcher. Would they want Henry Davis? Is Henry Davis available? The first overall pick in the 2021 draft, 1 pick ahead of Jack Leiter. Is he available? I don't know, but you hit some, you miss some, but you can't miss. If you're top 5, good Lord, you can't miss.
No.
So I'm going to guess they'll give him a little more time. But Paul Skeens,
he turned out.
That one's worked out pretty well.
So far, he's turned out pretty well. Yeah, he has indeed. Over the weekend, we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Maybe the least surprising news of this award season is, Jeff, when Rawlings announced the fact that your team Gold Glove goes to the Texas Rangers.
All right.
There it is. And
that'll work.
Of course it should. They were record-setting in their defensive efficiency. Jeff.
That's right. I'll be honest, didn't know there was a team award.
I didn't either.
So congratulations, Rangers.
Yeah, and
their hard work was not overlooked.
They can all put the team award right there on their mantelpiece or wherever they would put the actual Gold Glove. So, and then Bobby Witt Jr., a native North Texan, is the Platinum Glove Award winner this year. Last year, of course, it was Cal Raleigh.
Yeah,
and he
wasn't even in finals this year.
No, and Cal is, I hope, about to win the MVP. If I had a vote, he would be. But maybe that means Bobby Witt next year will have the kind of season Cal Raleigh did. You see what I'm saying?
I like your thinking, John.
Connecting
some dots.
Yeah, see my math there? That's how that might work today. There's an announcement each and every day, I think, this week about, basically which award, the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, comes today.
Right.
Both come today. And so we'll see what happens there. We think Kurtz, the Oakland kid, is probably the likely choice to win the American League one. And is it the Cubs pitcher for the National League?
Horton or the Braves catcher Baldwin?
Yeah,
I think are the two favorites. And the AL ballot: Kurtz, Wilson, Roman Anthony, the Red Sox catcher whose name is escaping me right now, Jack Leiter. Maybe get some vote consideration. Yeah. So, not to win it. I think Kurtz is going to be unanimous. I mean,
I think so too.
He's pretty dang good.
Hard to dispute. I will say somebody on the MLB on MLB.com came up with a list of the all rookie teams.
Ooh, okay.
First and second.
Yeah.
Jack Leiter does not make it as a starting pitcher, first or second team all rookie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
Who?
Let me see. I've got it here. Let me see who they were. These are.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't think of five rookie starters better than Jack Leiter this year in the
Here's
American
the
League.
all-rookie team. Stand by.
Stand
by for pitchers. This is written by Sam Dykstra.
All right, Sam.
All right, Sam, we're putting you to the test. So here we go. And it's regardless of league. First team has American League and National League guys on it. We're there through Jacob Wilson's the shortstop. There you go. Marlins outfielder. There's a D. Okay, here's your starting pitchers. Cade Horton for the Cubs.
Okay.
Legit.
All right.
Noah Cameron for the Royals.
Sure.
Matt, this is a relief pitcher, actually. Matt Svanson for the Cardinals. So they only have two starters and one reliever. Okay. All right. Well, and then the second team has Chad Patrick of the Brewers and Shane Smith of the White Sox.
Nope.
I don't think either one of those guys had better years.
Neither one of them
Jack
was better.
Leiter. No. So
I mean, Patrick was in the minors. He got called up at one point in whatever month the Rangers played him and started one of those games. And the Rangers beat him.
Yeah.
I don't know. He didn't have better than Jack Leiter.
No.
I think maybe you don't go to the minors. How about that?
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So anyway, Sam, you disappoint us. Sam Dykstra, that is.
Sam does a good work, but
does he? Well,
that one's a little.
That one disappoints us. So, that Rarity's talking about bringing Ron Washington back. Anybody you mention that to is giddy about the idea.
Yeah.
I don't think it's extremely likely, but
yeah, especially if Ray Davis is going line by line and finding salaries to cut, I don't know that he's going to want to add a salary.
True, but there is an opening for the third base coach technically.
Yeah.
But I will say, Mike Bassick, when he saw some of the chatter about that, brought up the fact maybe somebody has it in there. Maybe you could have him in a role like Bruce Bochy in San Francisco. That is where I think, and basically like Skip Schumaker had. That is where I think Ray Davis isn't adding people. And Wash better than I do even, but Wash wants no part of that.
Wash wants to be on the field in
wants
uniform.
To be on the field throwing BP, teaching guys how to field ground balls, all that kind of thing. I don't see him wanting to stay in baseball if it means he's not in a uniform on the field working with players.
Yeah, even like a special instructor thing. Bring him into spring training for a couple weeks. Let him hop around in the farm system. Let him work with Sebastian Walcott.
Yeah,
give him some Sebastian Walcott time.
Sure. Yeah, he's kind of a roving instructor.
Wash, after his abrupt resignation from the Rangers, was brought back by the A's to work exclusively with Marcus Semien.
Yes, he was.
And then he ended up working with guys. All the A's wanted a piece of him. Max Muncy was on the team at that point, and learned a lot from Ron Washington. So, I don't know. Wash needs a job.
He does. He wants one. He probably doesn't need one.
He doesn't,
but he wants one, and we'd love to see him have one. So, more coming up as we get to our cleanup segment, clean up the day, and head toward the rest of a busy week in at least some baseball activity. Next, it's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And Die Hard is more than just a Christmas movie. It is a thing. It's a thing. Becoming a Die Hard is so easy to do. Scan that QR code, and or you just go to alldlls.com/join. And if you're not a Die Hard, you're missing out, frankly, because there is so much written by all of our guys, and there is about to be a whole lot more written about the Dallas Mavericks this week. It's going to be, we believe, a very big week in Dallas Mavericks news. My friend and a person many of you know, Gina Miller, has taken a job with the Dallas Mavericks as the director of communications, meaning she's over corporate communications and the media communications, right? So congratulations to Gina, and that's just some of the news. They're having a new communications coordinator for a reason. You want all that news? Become a diehard.
Yeah, we don't want to, leave any hints here. But we can take them. Okay, so Die Hard, and again, John and I do not do this on purpose, but it happened again today. Beneath our shackets, we're wearing the same shirt.
Jeez, we are.
Yeah. So anyway, these shirts are great, and you get a free one when you become a Die Hard member at store.allcitynetwork.com. You can be like me and John and wear this one, or you can, pick from any number of shirts. We have like 7 or 8 per team. So that's like in the 30s. Plus, we have that Dallas collection there.
Sure.
That's probably, it's more than 6 deep because we have some of the original DLLS shirts. So we're, let's say 40. And then we have some sweatshirts. We have the hat, which I did not wear today, but I did wear it proudly in the great state of Kentucky.
Good.
And look, it's just good stuff. And then the holidays are around the corner. If you want a unique way to show your fandom, go to store.allcitynetwork.com.
That's funny. I saw Jeff buttoning a few more buttons on his jacket.
Cold too.
And I wondered, oh, is he really that cold? No, he was just covering up that. He didn't want everyone to see we had the same shirt on. It happens.
We're twinning today.
Yeah, we're very much twinning. It happens. And I love that. T.O. says, man, we're already to the cleanup segment. This show has flown by.
That's how I feel.
Thank you, T.O. It does. It flies for us, too. This will ground it to a halt, though.
Oh,
just
boy.
This awful news about what happened with Emmanuel Clase and Ortiz. I mean, just so it's so hard to fathom that a guy who was making $4.5 million this year, he had a 4-year, $20 million contract, would be involved in this. And I know innocent until proven guilty, and Emmanuel Clase's agent has said that he's innocent, as Ortiz has too. They both not agents but lawyers, I think it's even beyond the agent level, have come out and said no, these men are innocent, and we can't wait to have our day in court. I fear that their day in court won't go as well as the lawyers think, because it appears, Jeff, that there is some very significant evidence against these guys, particularly against Clase, who they say started this horrific idea and process in May, continued it in June, and then I think got popped in July.
I thought it was a couple of years ago even. I thought it was.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
But the details, when the Rangers traded Clase, and then he turned out to be a big bright star for the Guardians.
Yeah.
You've heard this. If you've been around the team, you've heard some guys talk about Emmanuel and how he was not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And this appears to be the epitome of that. Now, a lot of the money, it turns out, was sent back to the Dominican Republic, where law's a little bit different down there. But in baseball, the number one law is do not bet on baseball.
No,
that is the top one, and we've talked about it before. And I didn't know. We have the great prize picks on our side, and it's more or less hits or strikeouts or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there are some websites out there where you can actually bet on a pitch.
A pitch.
I mean, that just seems like trouble. But then the whole thing is stupid. It's like, if this stuff can be monitored, which baseball can do, of course the numbers are going to spike. How many people are betting on pitches?
Can you imagine?
You know, like, hey, what's the first pitch of the ninth inning going to be? It's going to be a slider in the dirt.
Yeah.
And you know, a ton of money comes in on just that one pitch. How are you not going to get caught? Is the thing. And
that there's video of one where there was like, I think $4,000 was actually lost. So not a significant amount, and it was a pitch that apparently was planning to be a ball, but it was a strike because Pages swung at a pitch like 40 that bounced 40 feet in front of the plate, and the Dodgers fans are going, "Oh, of course it's Pages," you know,
right? Yeah,
but again, there's video there. There was some of the evidence includes Clase, who said he was talking to the bookie type or whatever he was prior to a game, went out, threw the first pitch, and the bet was that he'd throw the first pitch under 97.9 miles an hour. And
really?
There was like, for sure 5, maybe even 6 figures bet on that pitch. And MLB's going, people don't bet. There's not 6 figures worth of betting on a pitch,
right?
The first pitch of the game. So, and then they get, of course, it's the feds and stuff, they get cell phone records. And Clase, had sent a text to that guy that showed someone with a hangman's noose made out of toilet paper and a sad puppy dog face. Like the message obviously being, I'm hanging myself and I'm sad about it, right? And so stop doing it. How about that? Or never start, right?
Yeah. Just don't be dumb. Follow the rules.
Yeah. Especially that rule.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't drop the soap, Emmanuel.
Right? Yeah. That's basically it. And so, because the reports are they could get, and nobody ever does. I mean, we always say, he could get up to whatever. They could get up to 65 years in prison. Now, they won't. No, I mean, but they certainly could go to prison.
And and what if this is the tip of the iceberg? What if they're holding their feet to the fire for a bigger case? Trying to get to the people actually paying them the bribes, and is there? I've been watching a lot of mob documentaries lately. Is there some organized crime behind it? We got some big RICO charges coming.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, and we've just seen this. I mean, there's been a big bust in the NBA on this.
Yeah, right.
Where there were literally mob ties. So, I hope that all of our sports don't become tainted with this, and it's a slippery slope when you do get into bed with any sort of betting services, or maybe it's one reason the teams were so reluctant for so long to move to Vegas, Jeff.
Yeah, well, and we've talked about this before too, how how baseball is, is in bed with a lot of gambling sites.
Yes,
and MGM and DraftKings, maybe, whatever it is. I mean, you can't even every day on like one of the MLB network shows, they like make picks.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay. Well, if the hosts who are former players,
right?
Maybe they're not putting down real money, but it's like, give me a break.
They're like, oh, I'm good at this. I used to do this all the time when I was playing. I don't know. I can't make it make sense to you. I wish I could. So now there's another Japanese player, Jeff, who is being allowed to post, being posted, in fact, by the Cebu Lions. And it is
the pitcher,
Tatsuya Imaya.
Good enough for me.
Yeah. Tatsuya. 99-mile-an-hour fastball, right-handed pitcher. They say he'll be among the top 3 pitchers available in free agency with Framber Valdez and Dylan Cease. So, I mean, he's obviously a guy they believe is super talented if he's going to be in that air on this free agent class.
I saw some pictures of him, and his hair reminds me of young Yu Darvish.
Okay.
Yeah, the kind of the long locks, and it's pretty funny. But we'll see, and it's teams like all the teams there, they're like corporate owned, and they don't have private ownership. Their owners aren't Ray Davis and Hal Steinbrenner,
right?
And all these people with tons and tons of money. So like when Seibu posts a guy, and when he is going to get this giant contract, you get the $20 million maximum posting fee, but you also, at contracts like this, you get a cut of what he signs for. These teams are making huge money
sure.
that they ordinarily wouldn't make. So it's a big deal, and for these teams, and I guess we can probably just go ahead and narrow down who's going to sign them. Dodgers, or Dodgers.
Right. That's exactly what Bassick
know.
said when I brought up Murataki or whatever the other the hitter.
Yama, yeah.
And Mike goes, well, isn't he just going to the Dodgers? I'm like, well, yeah, probably.
Yeah, or the Giants. The Giants seem to spend a lot internationally, or always in the mix, and then the Blue Jays will give it a shot. And,
yep.
Some people get excited about the Rangers, but I still think the Rangers have a
great presence there.
They do.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And
yeah.
I think their work will be done this year by landing an American who has done well there. That's my hunch. If they're going to sign anybody, it'll be
pitcher wise. You mean
pitcher from Japan who's an American and wants to come back over and is redone his career.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I kept calling Mike Jeff. So come on, Mike. Hurry up, Mike. Yeah, thank you, T.O., for reminding me. Hey, listen, Mike. To your point, the GMs were polled.
Okay.
As to where Kyle Tucker might land. What do you think the GMs said?
The Dodgers?
They gave 3 teams.
Dodgers, Mets, Yankees?
Dodgers, Yankees, Blue Jays.
Oh, okay.
So, but, you brought up Toronto, too, because they've tried to get in on the international guys. Yeah. But they, as we've said, Jeff brought it up many times, they have a lot of money to spend. They're deep, too, because of the Rogers communication situation. So they've got plenty of money. And, so it's one of the usual suspects, right, for Kyle Tucker. And that is, I don't know, I guess you would regulate that somewhat, obviously, with the salary cap. But Dodgers, they'll just keep spending. Yeah. They're not as scared.
Yeah. As Tony just pointed out about Sasaki, it reminds me, there's not the $20 million fee. It's just the straight percentage now. And so, whatever the what was it? The MLB minimum times, or 20% of the MLB minimum is all the bonus that. Who did he play for? For Oryx. Anyway, they didn't get squat. Whereas Yamamoto's team made like $53 million.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Was there a change in the year between the two?
No, just because.
Oh, because he
didn't wait to be posted.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there's always a posting fee,
but now it's a percentage of the final salary.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. That is the show for today. We so appreciate all of you hanging out, talking baseball with us. There's news to come, and lots of it. And sometimes, as someone said earlier in the chat, silence is golden. Sometimes the volume of silence is amazing. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We do it again. I'll be joining from Las Vegas beginning tomorrow for the next few days. So we'll see if we can figure anything out over there, too, as I stick my ear to the ground. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow on another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.